Okay, recording started. So in last class, like we discussed all the course content. Okay. So these are the things like what we are going to do in this project, starting from requirement gathering. Then we will follow this agile methodology for development. So we'll use Jira ticketing tool for project management. Then we have list of software which we will use in this particular project. Okay, so all those software and things like what all environment we will have, what all testing process we will follow. Okay, then what deployment model we will follow, what all repository we will use. So all those things are there in course content. And we discuss like objective of this exercise. So here, in short, you can say we are going to simulate one real world scenario. Okay, and what I will take here. So we will do here. So that will be 95% real only. So almost like everything will be real, except like a few limitation we have related to licensing part. So that thing we will not able to do. Okay, like 5%, only 5% things will be there. Apart of that, like all the like so they used to provide their trial version for 30-day or 1 month, like 30-day, 6 month like that. So for every services, we will use their trial version and we will make things real time only. And setup wise, okay, so setup wise, we did all this setup, what you can see in orange color. So we did all this setup. And if you will go through video, if you will go through my previous video, then you will able to see, like you will able to understand like how to do all this setup. Okay. All are
But
very simple only.
can you share that the list of things separately so that we'll watch the video and have them copied and pasted on the address bar?
Okay, yeah. So I have collected all the endpoints here. So let me put now only. So let me put in our team chat so everyone can copy this. And
Yeah.
I think I shared in group. Maybe if someone joined recently, they might not have received this. But I think previously I have shared. So let me share it again. Okay. So this all this thing we did in last session, and from today we will start technical part. Okay. So far we understood like what we are going to do and what all environment setup and software setup we need. There might be like few more setup required, but that we will do later on. At this moment, we are good. Okay. Now, so we will start our today topic. So as per discussion, like today we will work on this functional design document and we will work on requirement gathering. Okay. And then we'll have time, then we will start working on RAML also. So for RAML part, we will do RAML from very scratch. Okay. And then we will follow all the best practices of RAML. Okay. Like if you will join any like big MNC and all. So their expectation will be there, like you need to create reusable components. Okay. Like traits, data type, fragment. Okay. So all those best practice we will follow. And RAML part will not be very difficult. And that is again not a scripting language. It's a very straightforward keywords are there by which you can write RAML. Okay, you just need to understand meaning of each keyword. Okay. Someone is saying screen is not visible. So yeah, in that case, like most of people like are able to see. Definitely there is some issue from your side, so you can rejoin this same meeting. Okay, then you will able to see, or there might be some network issue from your side. So REML part, as I mentioned, like we will follow all the best practice and everything. Okay, we will start from scratch and we will follow all the standards and everything. So even if you don't know anything about REML, you will learn REML here. Since we are going to do from scratch, so you will learn here only. But yeah, if you know anything, like if you know bit of REML, then here you will get advanced knowledge, like how to create these reusable components. Okay, fine. So let me start. Let me open this document. Okay, this is the sample functional design document. So whenever you will start any project, then definitely there should be a project name or program name. Okay, it will contain some keyword or some logical word related to project. Okay, so in my past experiences, like I have seen project name like DCCI, then I have seen SSE. So all those things are related to like major functionality. Some keywords are there. Based on that, they used to decide project name. Okay, there will not be any logic to decide the project name. So there definitely will be some keyword by which they can easily identify. Okay, we are talking about this. So and in a company, like in an organization, it might happen for same client. There might be multiple project. Okay, there might be multiple of team. Okay. So in my current project also, like we have parallel 4 to 5 project. Okay. Each project has their own API developer. Okay. So they need to they need to communicate with each other, not very frequently, but they need to communicate. Okay. Now you will say why and how they will communicate with each other. Okay. So whenever we develop any API or anything, okay, so there must be some reusable component. Okay. So maybe some API is already there, developed by some developer. Okay, and you are using their API. Okay. In that case, might be you need to connect with him or you need some kind of knowledge transfer. Okay, so that things might happen, and there might be some other some client where they have only one project. So based on that, we used to give some key identifier by which we define project name, program name, and line of business, like who all are going to use, like whatever functionality we are going to develop, who is going to use. Okay. Let me give you one example for line of business. So let's say you are working on some healthcare project. Okay. So in that healthcare project, there might be something related to might be some project related to life, means in term you can say that is related to, okay, you can say like there might be different line of business. You can say in healthcare domain, you are developing some application for patients, like patients. Okay. So in that case, they will be line of business and they are using some kind of application. Let's say your application name is ABC. Okay. So in that case, you can give like a line of business ABC. Okay. And there are some other like people also related to that healthcare domain. Let's say they have multiple staffs and they have multiple internal employee, they have multiple doctors. So they are using some other application, some other internal application. Okay. And that application name is PQR. Okay. So in that case, your line of business will be PQR. Okay. So based on the group of people or based on the functionality, you need to define your line of business. And that thing we are mentioning here, line of business, who are going to use this, whatever functionality we are going to develop in this project. So who is going to use? Okay, one question I received very frequently, so I want to make clear at this moment only. Many people ask me like there will be only one API for this project or there will be multiple API. So in a project, there will be like one API also, it can be one API also, and there can be 100 API also in single project. That depends on in that particular project, what all functionality you are going to cover. Based on the functionality, what of API will be decided. Okay. For same functionality, there might be 2-3 API, and for same functionality, there might be one API only. So it depends. Again, there are multiple factors on which it depends, like how many API will be there, and what will be project size and everything. Second part, this document instruction. So here it's nothing but it's a kind of metadata. Okay. So here we have given, like we used to give information related to this document. What version of this document, like versioning, how we will do versioning. So if you do versioning, there are two kind of versioning: minor version, major version. In major version, like you will, let's say here we are maintaining 1.0, then we will have 1.1, we will have 1.2, 1.3. So these are minor version. If you are doing any major change, okay, in your project, if you are doing any major change, then your versioning will start from 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, like that. Again, if major version will come, then it will start from 3.0, 3.1. So again, it depends. Like here, you can see we are taking only one digit before decimal and one digit after decimal. But in some places, you will see versioning in 3 digit, 1.0.0, 1.0.1. And if there will be any, then it will be 1.1.0, 1.1.1. So it depends what structure they are following. Here we are going to use 2 digit only, before decimal and after decimal. So in this case, minor version will be after decimal, major will be before decimal. And other details are there. So you can go through and you can try to understand. Okay, these are not very much important, but still, just once I will share this document, read out all this, and if you will have any doubt, let me know. About this documentation, what all we did inside this document. So we have given overview of this particular project, and then we have given functional and application specification. Here, as I mentioned, like versioning thing we do. Part of that, we capture lots of information in this change history. So if anyone will come to this document, they will open this document, they will able to understand what date major action has taken for this particular document.
Ravi, this will be done by architect or a developer.
Okay. So in 90, you can say 90% case, it should be done by architect only. Okay. Since this document should be created at the very beginning of the project, whenever they are capturing the requirement, at that time only they need to do. But in some places, what happened? Architect will provide you all the detail in Jira story or some other places, and then they will only ask you, once you will complete your development, capture everything in this document. So I have both the experience where first I got this document, and then by following this document, I did all the development. And second place, I got requirement in some other place. I did all the development and they asked me to complete the functional design document once I complete our development.
Okay.
So, but most of the case, it should be before the development, and it should be created by architect.
All right, thank you.
Have detail about ownership and responsibility. So you can see document owner. So there can be one person also, or we can have multiple person also. And here you can see like LMS tech lead. So name, we can provide anything. Or there can be like ABC, your company name, and their name. So he is the document owner, means he used to create document, he used to update document, but there will be document reviewer also. Okay, he used to collect all the requirement from different stakeholders, their different BA people, like business people, different like you can say you means whatever third party application we are connecting. So he will capture all the detail from different person, and then he will capture all the detail. So before like proceeding for development part, he need to review that document, since whatever detail he captured, all those details are mentioned correctly or not. So once he will document all the requirement, then he will ask all the related party to go through this document and review the document. And even there will be some sign off process. Okay, once it will be reviewed by everyone, then he will go to client for sign off process. Okay, this is the table of content. Okay, this table of content is nothing but whatever detail you will capture in your entire functional design document. Okay, all those detail will come in this table of content with their page number. Okay, all the headings, and so it will be easy for you to understand what all things you have captured in your functional design document, and that detail is mentioned on which page. Okay, and this can be auto generated. So if you will see here, once I selected table of content, you can go to update field, edit field, or update field. Once you will update field, it will automatically capture all the detail and it will correct the date and all. Sorry, page number and all. Okay, let's say you added some more content. So that content should be reflect here. Let's say previously this API landscape diagram was in their page number 6, and now it's on page number 8. So this should be updated. So what you can do, you can select this table of content, do right click, and then update fields. So automatically it will check this API landscape diagram, this particular heading is in which page. So it will take that particular detail and like page number, and it will keep here. First part of this document, this is functional requirement document. Okay, this is from other project. So for this project, we will create now. First, let me explain this this sample document, and then we will update this sample document for this project. Okay, so we'll sit together, we'll work together, and we will update. So here you can see we have functional design document for investment banking. That was different project. So actually here I created in different format, but I seen in company standard and all, they are using some not in depth. Okay, here I created in all the layers. So, but I seen like they are using many places, they are using different format, and I found that format is much more convenient. So in this project, we are going to use that format. Okay, but in functional diagram, like we mention all the external system, you can see here we have Salesforce, we have third-party SMS API, we have third-party JWT token provider, we have SMTP server, we have database. Okay, and then we have front-end application also. Okay. So in this functional design document, what we used to do, we used to mention all the functionality and which functionality are connected with which all system, and how they are interconnected with each other. So those kind of detail on high level we used to mention here. Then we have another set of document also, I think. Yeah, so that's why I was saying. Actually, there are something wrong with this sequence. Let me first make it proper sequence, and then actually this should not be on the top. Project overview should be on top. So project overview will be first. So project overview will be first, where we will have business overview and business benefit. Okay? And then we will have functional requirement, where you will put all the like diagram things like functional diagram, API landscape diagram, data mapping, and sequence diagram is missing. Let me see. Sequence diagram we can put on this here also, and we can put on API level also. So let me discuss one by one. So sequence diagram, we can, let me see here I kept or not. Then this will be more appropriate place. So after API landscape diagram, we should put sequence diagram. So we have this sequence diagram. Okay, let's discuss. So here we will have business overview. So what does it means? Here you need to, actually I have given only 1-2 line, but ideally it should contain like 10-20 line about this project. So we'll give you like, generally we used to put detail of like this particular project and detail of what all business functionality we are going to cover. Okay. And then business, in business benefit, we will tell what all advantage like that, what all advantage client will get after using this, after go live of this project. Okay. Well, let's say we are adding one feature in this like project, we are going to add this customer onboarding process. Okay. So let's say previously all the registration should be done by their support team only. Like customer cannot do registration by themselves. The customer will not able to do registration by themselves. So what business has decided or client has decided, they will create one like set of functionality which will help them like onboard the customer, like customer do registration, logging, and then they can see all their detail on once they will go to their profile. Previously, whenever new customer will come, so our support team will generate user ID and password and they will create account on behalf of them. But now company want to automate the process. They want to automate the process whenever any new customer will come. They want to take any service at the time of service only. They will give them one unique ID. So using that unique ID, they can do registration process. So here you need to give them business overview, what exactly business is there, what all functionality you are going to cover, and then business benefit like what was old system and what was new system and how it will give advantage of business. So that kind of thing should be here in project overview. Now coming to functional requirement. Okay, so here we used to create many things, like first will be functional diagram. So in this functional diagram, you need to provide the detail, what all and systems are connected, how MuleSoft helping them to exchange data, what all functionality are involved here. So those kind of detail we will put in this functional diagram. Then coming to API landscape diagram. So here we are distributing our API in all three layers. Okay, we have system layer, process layer, and experience layer. And here you can see we have different experience system. Like we have mobile application for that particular client. They have mobile application also, they have web application also. And these are the external system which we are helping through MuleSoft to exchange data among all these systems. Okay, so many people might know about this API-led architecture, but still I will explain this architecture in detail. So this API-led architecture is nothing but it's a microservice architecture. In MuleSoft, we have given new name to this microservice architecture. That is API-led architecture. So here, what we used to do, we used to develop modules or functionality such a way that should be smallest functionality and that can be reused at multiple places. Okay. The purpose of this microservice architecture, like split your project into small module and revert required. So here you can, let me see, do we have, okay, in this API-led diagram also, like this particular project don't have much reusability, but in this customer onboarding, we will have things which we will reuse at multiple places. Okay, and in our another project also, that kind of behavior you will see. So what will happen? This one system API will be used by two process API, or maybe one process API will be used by two experience API, or one process API will be used by another process API. So the main purpose of this to make same time, if some part of your functionality will not work, means if one API is not working, then it will impact only few functionality, other functionality will keep working. So it will provide you high availability of your application, and at the same time, it will increase the code reusability. And nowadays, this moving world, like in agile world, so we will have what we can say, things are keep changing. Okay. Now, if you will write same piece of code on multiple places, and if you need to do any change in that particular piece of code, then you have to do that change on all the places. Instead of that, what we can do, we can create that piece of component in separate place, and you can use that piece of code many places. If there will be any change, then you just need to update small piece of code which you are using at 4 or 5 places. Okay, so it support this this API-led architecture supports code reusability, and at the same time, as I mentioned, if any API is not working, then it will impact only limited functionality. It will not stop your all functionality. In monolithic architecture, like in previous architecture, if any functionality will stop working, then your entire application will shut down. Like your entire application will stop working.
I have
That
a quick
is
question,
with,
bro. Sorry
yes.
to interrupt you. I have a quick question. Like you're talking about a single API and multiple APIs initially, right? So right now, what you're showing us is multiple APIs or single API one.
So here you can see we have multiple API. We have a API related to retrieve customer detail. We have API related to some common functionality. We have scheduler API. Okay, so we have three API here, three system API, then three process API, and four experience API.
So mostly it is like multiple APIs only, right? It won't be like single API. We'll be working on single API.
No, it's a multiple API only. Okay, within one API, there can be functionality. Let's say this is customer API. In this customer API, we can have record customer, we can have retrieve customer, we can have update customer.
Ravi, sometimes your
Yes.
voice is breaking.
Okay, is it same for everyone?
No, I can hear you clearly. I don't know.
Okay, so might be some issue on you, like her side. So maybe you can check your network stability. If otherwise, it should be breaking for everyone.
No, sometimes it is happening, Ravi, for me also.
Okay. Okay, and let me know if it's still going on, then I will try to rejoin.
Ravi, I have a question here. Actually, I got an question during interview here.
Yes.
How to establish communication between two layers, from system layer to process layer, and process layer to
Okay.
experience layer? How
Yeah.
this happens?
So
Just theoretical, maybe not fully technical, but just an overview how to establish how they
yeah.
communicate between
So
these.
yeah. So at this moment, it will be very early for other. Okay. But if he already asked, then let me answer this. But for other, if you are not getting, then just ignore at this moment. It's very early to get this answer, but let me answer if he already asked. So you can see here we have this process API and we have this system API. Okay.
Yes.
So there are two ways you can this two API can communicate. One is you can publish this system API on Exchange. Okay, and you can include that particular API as a connector in this process API. Okay, and then you can use that connector to connect with this system API. This is first approach. In that case, you need to publish your API on Exchange. Once you will publish your API on Exchange, and once you will include that dependency here, you will get related connector. Okay, connector to connect with this system API. Okay, and let's say in this API we have three operation, so you will get all three operation in that connector, and you can use that connector. How like connector we are using to connect with any external system. So there will be operations, you can use that operation. That is one way, but that is not much popular way. So far, I think only one project, or no, not one, two project I have seen. That is not my project, since I was helping some of my friend. So at that time I seen they are using this connector approach to connect with one layer to another layer. But in most of the cases, you can say 95% cases, we are using HTTP connector to connect from one layer to another layer. This API we will expose as a REST API, correct? So generally we are exposing a system API as a REST API only. So this API we will expose as a REST API. Now this is the process API. So from process API, we can use HTTP connector requester operation to call this system API. In HTTP connector, we have requester operation. That requester operation will help us to consume any REST API. And this is our REST API. So easily we can use that connector. We can use that operation. We can call the system API. That is second approach, but second approach will be widely used. Until unless they are not giving you proper instruction, or they are not telling you to go with connected approach, you should go with HTTP requester. If they are mentioning this, you must need to go with connected approach, then only go with that. Okay, I haven't explored much what all advantage we have or what are the disadvantage we have in connected approach. But what I like experienced, it might be I was not handy with that approach, but I found like if we are doing any kind of change, it's like kind of overhead. Okay, we need to publish on Exchange, then we need to update our form file. So many additional steps we need to do. Okay, but in this REST API, whatever change you will do, that change will reflect automatically until unless you are not changing anything in endpoint, or means even if you are changing anything in endpoint or anything in first approach also, you need to do change in your process API.
Okay.
Okay, So for other people, if you haven't got this question, let it be. Later on, we will discuss, and you will automatically get this answer. Okay, I need not require to mention this. You will automatically see this, and you will get this idea. But coming to this API-led architecture, now let me give you in-depth things. What all these three layer. Maybe many people know already this. Whenever you are starting MuleSoft, this first thing you learn this API-led architecture. And in interview also, 50% places, like if you are giving 10 interview, in 5 interview, you will get question from this API-led architecture. Okay. So here in this architecture, we have three layers. We have system layer, we have process layer, and we have experience layer. Okay. So this coming to this first layer, system layer, this will be lower layer, you can say. Okay. Generally, we don't turn lower and upper, but when you will work practically, we used to develop this system layer first. Okay, since upper two layer will be dependent on this. So we have this system layer which connect with different external system. Okay, so let's say in this particular project, we have Salesforce system, we have SMS system, we have database, we have SMTP server, we have JMS system. So we have different third-party application. We have different external system. We have different external system. So what this system API will do, it will help us to connect with this external systems. Okay. Now coming to second layer, that is process layer. In process layer, we apply all the business logic. Okay. So this process layer will help us to apply all the business logic, and we do all the orchestration in process layer. Process layer will be intermediate layer between experience layer and system layer. So again, I'm saying this system layer will help us to communicate with this external system like Salesforce, database, JMS, third-party application, SMTP server, and then we have process layer where we apply all the business logic and we do all the orchestration. Now coming to experience layer, okay? Experience layer will help us to expose our API to external world. Let's say we have two external application here. We have mobile application, we have web application. Okay. So generally what happen, if you develop any application, we have mobile application, we have web application. There might be possibility those two applications need different set of data. Okay. Let me take one example of banking application. If you are seeing any mobile application for any banking application, maybe in mobile application, you will have different set of functionality, and maybe you have web application where you will have different set of functionality. In mobile application, let's say you are trying to retrieve your transaction detail. You will able to see only last 10 transactions. But if you will go to mobile web application, then you will able to see last 6 month transaction also. So based on the different experience system, just based on the different experience system, you may need different response from same API. Okay, or for same functionality. So in that case, we used to develop experience API. Okay. And as I mentioned, the main purpose of this experience API to expose our API to external world. Okay. And then second thing, we like what is the main reason for this? The main reason for this is we have different experience system, and that different experience system may need different set of data. Let me take you any one another example. Okay, So if you go for any retail domain website, okay, if you will open your customer information, you will able to see your all detail, like your sensitive detail, your, like, let's say your uh, age, date of birth, gender, everything you will able to see. But same thing if you will do through their concierge app. Concierge app means there are multiple like retail domain company. If you will go to their store, okay, there also you will able to see some kind of device. Or if you will go to their help desk, okay, in their help desk also they used to maintain one device. There also they will able to see customer information. But only thing is they will able to see only limited functional limited customer information. In concierge app, they will able to see customer information like what is their name, when they started using their application, what is their last order, all those details they will able to see, but they will not able to see their age, date of birth, gender, and other sensitive information. Okay, so based on different experience system, we may need a different data, different response. Okay, so for that purpose, we generally develop this experience API. Okay, now again, it depends on project. There might be some project, where we need all three layer, or there might be some project where we need only two layer. Okay, let's say we have one client, they have only like one application, one external application. Okay, and they are like damn sure like in future also they are not going to add any new experience system. So unnecessary they will put one extra layer in that case. Okay, that part like you need to take decision if you are a developer or architect. So you like this API led architecture, they don't know. Okay, as a developer you will develop this, or as a architect you will decide this. As a developer, so, or as a architect, you need to decide how many layer you are going to use for that project. But if you want to make your application or your API more reusable, you should follow this three layer architecture. Okay, we don't know, like nowadays we are in agile world, and anytime the client will decide to go with new application. Okay, they are using mobile application at this moment, but market is demanding web application also. Okay, so in that case, they might need another experience API for web application. So you have to be ready, or you have to develop your API in such a way in future, even if they will come up with new system, you need minimum change. So in that case, cleverly, you need to decide, you need to follow how many layer. Okay, but in my most of the project, we are following this three layer. Only for few project I have seen they are using two layer. Now you will say, do we have any kind of advantage or disadvantage of using this two layer or three layer? Yes, definitely we have. If you are splitting in more layer, then number of environment like CPU usage will increase. Let's say here we have three layer. Okay, experience layer. So in this particular system, whatever you can see here, to run this entire system, we need 3 in 6 for 10. Minimum 10 0.1 V code we need. Okay, we need minimum 10 workers and minimum size is 0.1 V code. So to run this applications, we need minimum 1 V code. 10 into 0.1 V code means 1 V code. If you will use two layer architecture, then only you need 0.1 into 6, that is 0.6 V code. So you will save 0.4 V code. Okay. So again, like you need to think how many layers should be there. It should be 2-layer or it should be 3-layer based on the client, their expectation, their future. Okay, based on everything you need to decide. Hope everyone clear with this. Let me know if anyone has any doubt in this 3-layer architecture. What all this 3-layer and why we use this 3-layer, what all advantage, disadvantage we have.
Ravi, can you give me an example wherein we don't need experience layer at all? I mean, if particular functionality is exposed to the
It's not
consumers.
functionality, as I mentioned, like your client has only one experience system, and in future also they are never going to use any other experience application. Like generally why we do different experience API to expose our API to different experience system. And that client has only one experience system, and in future also they will have only one. So if we have two experience system, then we should create experience API. If we don't have, then simply we can expose this process API to this experience system.
Okay. One more
Okay.
example is, say for example, I'm doing A2A integration, within organization. It's within, the corporate firewall. This is not a B2B scenario. So in B2B scenario, the external probably, I'll have to expose the service to the consumers, and mobile and web experience, probably I'll have to go with the experience layer. But in case if I do internal integration, I mean, within the organization, if I integrate the application, I don't need the experience layer over there, right? Just the process and then, the system layer.
So you can see this second diagram where we have scheduler API, this one, this one. So this is scheduler API, which will consume data from one internal application and will transfer to another internal application. So here we are not creating any experience API.
Okay.
Process will start here only and it will end here only.
Right. So if a customer or a consumer is involved, then we need to have the experience API,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. So if we have one or more like experience system, then only we should develop this experience API. Otherwise, we should not.
Got it. Thank you.
Ravi, as a MuleSoft developer, we are responsible for process layer or all three layer?
All three.
All 3 layers. We are responsible for all 3 layers.
Ravi, what is orchestration?
So orchestration, you can understand like this way. So whenever like someone prepare any music, okay, so what they do, what orchestra do, they have drum, they have different instrument. Okay, they play all the instrument together to make some meaningful sound or to make some sweet sound, you can say, or to make some song. Okay, so same way in MuleSoft also what we do, we call different experience system with different external system to like help them to exchange data. Okay, like we connect with different systems. We combine their data to make some meaningful like to cover or to prepare some meaningful functionality or to achieve some meaningful business. You can say like that. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Ravi, actually, can we think these layers, like all these APIs belongs to one layer, will be deployed in one VPC like that, or how that layer means what? How they will be divided in network level, or the deployment level? How they layer?
So yeah, in that case, what I will suggest you know, in few days we will deploy this application on Cloud Hub. Okay, then you will get some idea. At this moment, it looks like you are completely new in MuleSoft. So just wait for some time. You will get understanding. Once we will start deploying the application, you will get understanding. Okay, theoretically, maybe you are not getting exactly, But in short, let me tell you again. Okay. So this is nothing but this is microservice. So all are Mule API. This is also Mule API. This is also Mule API. This is also Mule API. If I want, I can combine these three and make one API. But what I did to make things more reusable, I split it into 3 layers. Okay. So in first layer, I'm simply connecting with external system. I'm not doing anything else. In second layer, I will do all the business logic. And in third layer, this layer will be just to expose our API to external world.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Let's say like we have 3 people. Okay. So one per like all 3 person can run also. Let me take some logical example. Okay. Let's say we have one restaurant. Okay. There 3 person are working in that restaurant. One person, like all 3 know cooking also, all 3 know how to do a waiter job, and all 3 know how to do cleaning and all. Okay, all of them know all 3 tasks, but they have divided their task. One will do only waiter task. Another will do only like food preparation, like a safe task, and not safe or chief, whatever. And one person will do only cleaning task. Okay, all 3 know all 3 know how to do these 3 tasks, but they have decided, okay, I will do only this task, I will do only this, I will do only this. Okay, so just why they are doing this, to make things more organized. Okay, so same way here, what we are doing, we can do all this thing in one layer only, but we divide it into 3 layers. So system layer will be only responsible to connect with external system. That's it. This layer we will apply all the business logic, and this layer we will call this process API to get the data and to pass this experience system. And now you will say in this MuleSoft, why we are doing this. In real time, you got it. They want to just organize their task. But here they want to increase code reusability. Okay, let's say here we have this system API. This API also needs some functionality of this API. So this API will call this API also. Not only this application API will call this. If any other process API need this, they can also call this. Okay. So first thing, it will increase code reusability. And second thing, like if there will be any like code break, if we will put everything in one layer, then what will happen? If anything will fail, entire application will stop failing. But let's say now, if we have some issue with this part, only this functionality will be impacted. These 2 functionality will keep working.
Okay, okay.
Query.
Sorry.
Sir, can you please repeat that process layer part in brief? Why it is responsible and what it is doing? Like it is only doing the scheduler based job or something else?
No, process layer, we do all the orchestration. Okay. Okay, let me tell you it this way. Find some real world example which can help you.
If you see on a real-time screen, maybe we'll be able to understand what we are discussing.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take a restaurant example only. I think that will only give us better idea. So in restaurant, let's say you want to prepare any food. So we have safe, and he want to prepare any food. And okay, yeah, we have waiter, we have safe, and we have other service provider. Okay, other staffs are there. So whenever any like request will come from waiter, okay, so waiter will correct that request and he will go to safe or chief, whatever safe, I think. No? Yeah. So he will go to safe and he will ask, he will provide that what all order he received. Now he need multiple items. Okay, he need, let's say, all the vegetables. He need like gas connection, and he need many other things. Okay, so to perform all those tasks, to make gas connectivity, to like prepare all the like collect all the vegetable, then whatever we need. So we have different system API for that. Okay, we have different staff who can do different end task, like making gas connection. This one is to make like collect all the vegetable, and this one is like to collect other things what we need to prepare any food. Okay, so they will do all their tasks. They will just go to end system, like he went to market and he collected like he took gas cylinder and he bring back. He went to market, he collected all the vegetable, he came back. This staff went to collect other detail, other like things, and he came back. Now all these three will provide their detail, like all what he need. So now he has all these things. Now he know how to like do things to make a meaningful food, or he know how to like combine all those things to make a tasty food. So he will prepare that tasty food. Now he will serve that. Okay, now waiter know this, like this request he came from this like customer or this customer. If he got from this customer, so this customer want dining. Okay, he want to eat within restaurant only, so he will serve in plate. Okay, and this customer he want to like take home. He want to do take home. So what he will do, like he will pack that food. So same food is there. Okay, one customer want like dining, means he want to eat within restaurant only. So he will serve in plate, and another person he want that food in like take home. So he will like prepare a parcel and he will send that parcel. So is this make sense?
Yes, sir. But sir, like this part is to be done in the process one, na, sir?
Orchestration will be process one. Orchestration, how to prepare food, how to prepare tasty food, that will be done in process layer. This experience layer know how to connect with end system. Okay, he know what this customer want.
Okay, and the system layer is responsible for collecting data from the tools. Like in your example, it is a case of raw material like vegetables and gas connection.
Yes, correct, perfect. Yes.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you.
So hope everyone clear on this part. So definitely during interview or during your certification exam, you will get many questions from here. Okay, in interview only 4-5 kind of question you will get from here. What all three layers are there? What is the purpose of this API-led architecture? What this layer, each layer do? Okay, and one question another person asked, like how they connect with each other. Okay, that is also a question that is not frequent one, but yeah, sometime you will get.
Ravi, one more question here. So can we deploy like system layers in on-prem and process layer on Cloud Hub in different deployment model? If it's possible, how can we establish a communication like the guy he asked before?
No, that kind of things are not there. Like system layer will be in which layer, process layer will be in which layer. Okay, means in which on-premise or cloud. So that again depend on project to project, what they are expecting. There is no rule and limitation for this. That depends on client. Okay, what kind of client are there, how they want to keep their data.
That's a, yeah, as you mentioned, it's a valid scenario. Because when the system layer, say for example, I'm going to deal with sensitive data, employee, the financial data, or in that case, probably I want to keep it on-prem. I don't want to go for a cloud hub or vendor provided cloud services, right? So in that case, probably the system layer has to sit in on-prem server, and probably the other APIs, they can sit in cloud hub. But I'm not sure who asked that question, but that's a valid scenario wherein you may have to keep the system APIs, yeah, based on the data classification. Even in for customers, right, the hybrid cloud computing is the same reason. You can keep very sensitive data APIs which deal with very sensitive data on-prem, and probably other APIs, you can move to the cloud, either MuleSoft hosted or the other clouds like Azure or AWS.
So again, like this part will be too early to discuss. Okay. So what is on-prems and what is Cloud Hub, and how we define which project should go on on-prems and Cloud Hub. So that kind of thing generally don't come on layer wise. That comes on client sense, like security part. Okay. So if let's say your client is from insurance domain, your client is from banking domain. Okay. They don't want to expose their data on any cloud, shared cloud service. Okay. So in that case, they don't go for this Cloud Hub deployment model. They go with on-premise deployment model, since they have more sensitive data, and they are not willing to share use any shared resource. Okay. So in that case, we should go on-premise deployment model. That is not on layer basis. Okay. Even if your system layer is on Cloud Hub and your process layer is on-premise, then again your data will be called, like system data will be called by process layer only. So someone will have all those data in shared resource in process layer. So layer wise, I'm not sure. I haven't seen this kind of thing. But entire project wise, yes, based on the factors, client used to take decision. Let's say it's a banking client, insurance client, or which domain client they have. Not only this Cloud Hub and this on-premise one, we have other deployment model also. We have multiple factors. Based on that, we need to take decision. So that we will discuss later on. This will be too early. Okay.
But
on this,
even if it is on-prem or cloud, the connectivity is still same, right? Again, you have to expose as a a REST API, then you have to consume, right?
process will be connectivity process will be same.
Yeah, sorry, connectivity process will be same only, right?
Yes.
Ravi, I have a query. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, the developer part will where it will start and where it will end. Like it will start from design part or else any development part. And in the development part, for example, whatever the APIs you are showing in the screen, there are around 4 and 7. Yeah, it was 10 APIs is there. The developers, for example, 2 developers is working on these 10 APIs, where that will be going to end. Like example, they will develop the entire things, like they will approach in the design part or else they will directly go for the development. And after testing, after deployment part, the developer part will be in. Or else again, if there any changes means again, they need to start in the development. Where it will start and where it will end.
So whatever question like we are getting at this moment now, is most of the thing we are going to cover. Okay. So if I will keep taking this question, so we will not able to proceed. Since whatever like so far, whatever question can, everything I am going to cover. Okay. So I know like most of you are excited to know things, but just wait for some time. Okay. Wait for some time. I will answer. Everything will cover. Actually, here we are going to do things from scratch to end. Okay, we are just at the phase of requirement gathering. Okay, so we are like all those questions, like whatever you ask, like everyone asked, 90% things we are going to cover. 10% I think new. So if you will find now it's a proper time we have covered, but I haven't covered that particular part, then you can ask. Okay.
Yes.
Fine. So now coming to sequence diagram. So in sequence diagram, generally what we used to do, like we will have multiple, you can see here we have multiple API. Okay. So for each functionality, generally sequence diagram will be based on the functionality. For each functionality, which API will be called at which place, when they will start their execution, when they will complete the execution, what all API will parallelly execute, what all API will be sequentially execute, which process API will call which system API. So that kind of detail we used to put in sequence diagram. Okay. I haven't created at this moment, but soon I will create. And if you want to see how it looks like, then let me create on high level. So here you can see, let's say we have this experience API, this we have process API. So this experience API made request at this point, and it will receive the request, it will acknowledge, like it will send acknowledgement to experience API, I received your request. Okay. And then it's doing their further processing. And I'm not sure, actually this one, let me modify this. So request will come from experience to process API. Then here we have one system API. We have another system API. So you can see here, this experience API calling this process API. This process API started its execution. Now this process API will call the system API. This system API will start its execution. It will complete its execution. It will send response back. Now again, to perform some business logic, it will call another system API. Okay, it called another system API. It got response from there. Now it will do all the orchestration. Like it received data from both the system. Now it will do all the orchestration, and then it will, once data will be ready, it will be sent to experience API. Now experience API will do, based on the experience system, it will do some kind of data mapping and all, and it will send to that experience system. So generally we have sequence diagram in this way. So it tells us which API will be, when it will start its execution, when it will complete its execution, how, like which all system will interact with each other, like this process API connecting with this two system API. So all those details you will get in sequence diagram. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
And next we have data mapping. So data mapping part, like we will see again once we'll work on API. So we have many data mapping in below, like documents. So we will go on that part. We have like integration frequency and volume. So whatever API we are going to develop here. So this again we will have on bottom only. So no need at this moment. Okay. Apart of this, we will have some non-functional requirement like error handling, security policy, logging. Okay, all those things will be part of non-functional requirement. So those kind of detail we will capture here. Okay, then performance requirement. What will be SLA of that API? How many TPS that API should have? Okay, TPS means like when it will go, like that API will be live. Within a second, how many calls will come there? TPS means transaction per second. Within a second, how many transactions will be completed by that API? Okay, or you can say initiated, not completed, initiated by that API. So that is TPS. Okay, all those performance related detail we will capture here. That is also part of non-functional requirement. Okay, so non-functional requirement will be your error handling, then logging, then security policy, auditing, performance handling, all those things. So generally, like in this document, we used to capture test scope also. Okay, that will be used by testing team. So what all functionality you need to test once you will develop your API. So those kind of thing we will capture here. If you have any risk or anything, that also you need to capture here. We have like what all keywords we are going to use. So these are the keywords we have used. Okay. Now coming to application overview, this will be important part as developer perspective. Okay. Whatever you have seen so far, even if you will not know that part, as a developer, you will able to survive. So you need this application overview. Okay, that you can see whatever detail we have seen, those details is required for this project. Okay, how those application system. So that thing you should know. Okay, it's not like without that you can survive, but if you will not have that knowledge, you will not able to correlate things. You will just complete your task. That's it. But you will not able to correlate anything. You will not able to take any decision or anything. Okay, so you should know all those things. Now from here, what all the API we are going to develop in this particular systems. Okay, in this particular project. So that detail we have. So here you can see we have list of API. These many API we are going to develop. And for each API, we have details here, like what will be resource name, what all methods will be there, what is the objective of that API, what is the version of that API, and here we have API name. So API name, and here we have the resource detail. Okay. Whenever we are developing API, so 4 key parameter you need to know: resource detail, request structure, response structure, and their data type. Okay, so this is the first key parameter, that is their resource detail. So whenever you are developing any API, you must need to give resource name and method name. Okay, let's say, okay, I think many people like know about this, but let me check how many people can answer this. I want to develop one API to retrieve customer information. So what should be my resource name and what should be method name? Everyone put in chat. Don't answer it. Put in chat. So I just want to see what will be resource name and what will be method name if I want to retrieve customer information. Put together only resource name and method name. I have seen multiple answer, but so far I can see one answer is perfect. Okay, other answer are also correct, but I can see one answer only perfect answer. Okay. As per API governance, that answer is perfect, but there is no hard and fast rule to develop your API. Okay, if you are developing any REST API, this is just an architecture pattern. If you will follow their standards, it's good. If you don't follow, then also technically it will work. Okay, so whoever has answered, get method with customer's resource, not customer, ending with S. So they have mentioned correct one. So I can see only 1 or 2% answer this. So method will be get and resource will be customers, not customer. This is as per API governance. Technically both are correct, but if you will follow API governance, resource name should be noun and it should be plural. Okay, so same thing we have here. So resource name is customers and method is get. So if we want to develop retrieve customer detail, so we will have customer resource with this get method. Okay, and this is for customer post. Can anyone tell me what should be this functionality? In which case we will take method as a post customer.
To create a customer.
To create a new customer.
Correct. So if you want to create any new customer, then method should be post and resource should be customer. Okay. Now coming to request part. Okay. So whenever you are developing any API, you can pass request in 4 format. You can pass so here we will have resource, customers, method will be post. Okay. Now these things are from resource detail. Now second important thing we have is request part. So whenever we are developing any API, the second part is important, request data. And if you want to pass any request data to any API, you can pass in 4 places. One is query parameter. Second one, URI parameter. Third one, headers.
Header.
Fourth one, body.
Body.
Now, what kind of data you will pass in query parameter? So let's say you want to pass some filter condition in your API. Okay. So let's say, let's take real-time example only. So you are placing, you are a customer, you are placing one order. So waiter is there. So you are asking waiter, okay, if you have this item, then give me another this item with this. And if you have this item, then give me this. So you are giving him choice. You are giving him some condition. If this will be there, then do this in my order. And if this is there, then do this in my order. Or waiter itself is giving you instruction like, if you will order this, you will get this item. So whenever you have some filter condition, okay, in that case, we should use query parameter. So this is real-time example. Now let's take in API term. You are developing any API, okay, customer API only, and you are retrieving all the customer information based on their age, where age should be less than 60 years. I want to retrieve all the customer detail where age should be less than 60 years. I want to develop one API. Okay. So in that case, you need to pass query parameter for that API. Second one is URI parameter. Okay. Now you are regular customer of that restaurant and you have one unique identifier. Okay. This is my unique identifier. Or let's say you have already placed your order and your order, you received your order ID. Now you you call the waiter and you ask him, this is my order ID. Where is my order? I'm waiting for 30 minutes or 40 minutes. I want my order. Okay. So in that case, what you need to give? You need to give that unique order number. Okay. For each customer, there will be different order number. So you have given order number from your table. So now he will take that order number and he will go to kitchen room and he will check what is the status of that order. So in that case, what we are doing here, we are passing unique identifier. Okay, let's say you want to retrieve customer information where customer ID is this. So that is URI parameter. So if you are passing any unique identifier data, then you should pass inside URI parameter. Now we have headers. Okay. Headers is nothing but it's a metadata. Okay. So let's say.
Sorry, Ravi. Actually, when you're telling this, if you're real time, you are seeing how you're giving commands and how it is going to really talk to each other. And otherwise, it is like a theory. We are. I am not able to catch many things in between. I don't know. Maybe later on you'll show. I know that, but at this point, it's like a Sanskrit for me.
Okay, sorry. I didn't get, like, you are not getting things or you are getting things?
Not getting things. It's like a theory, just one after one. I'm a bit understanding what you're saying, but at the same time, if you're showing on the real-time screen what we are discussing, otherwise this will be here and real-time when you're telling we cannot connect that what you told here, what you're doing there, right? I'm not sure. Maybe in the later part it will come.
Okay. Yeah, so all those things what we are discussing at this moment, later on we will have multiple API where we are going to implement this. Before going to that part, I'm just giving you some high level detail. So, okay. So
thank you.
When we will start development of our API, so we are going to develop like RAML for almost 10 API. So every places we will follow this thing, what we are discussing at this moment. Okay. At this moment, I'm just explaining the structure on which basis we are designing this API. Okay. In maybe in tomorrow session only or next week session. So we'll start working on RAML. We will start working on API. At that time, we will do same thing for multiple API. So we will define query parameter. We will define URI parameter, everything. Okay. Now coming to headers. So header will contain only metadata. Okay. Whenever we are defining data in header. So in header, we don't pass any actual data. We just define metadata. Okay. So what kind of metadata is there? Let's say we are passing one payload to this API, and that payload data type is JSON data. So in header, we will pass application type equals to, one header is there, accept type that will be application JSON. So in header, what kind of data we are passing? It's just a metadata, means data about data. Okay, that will not, like, we will not use in that processing part. It will just give us some additional information about our data. Okay, that's why we should pass that kind of detail in headers. And coming to body part, so whenever you want to do any processing, let's say you want to create customer. Okay, so you need to pass customer name, age, date of birth, email address, mobile number. So all those details you need to pass. So where we will pass all those processing data, we will pass inside this body. Okay, so based on the data, you can see we have four places where we can pass data. Based on the data category, we should pass in proper place. Okay, either in query parameter, URI parameter, headers, or body. Hope everyone clear on this part. If anyone has any query on this resource part or request data part, you can ask.
Ravi, Sunny here.
Yes, yes.
Query params and URI params. Do we use both query params and URI params together in a resource? Because URI just identifies a particular person, or it almost filters everything out, right? So do we have to give query param as well as URI param?
It's up to you, no? Like, what is the requirement of your API? Your API want to retrieve customer with that customer ID, then you will pass URI parameter. If your API, like they are expecting one API which will have different filter condition. Okay, based on the age, based on the gender, based on the location. In that case, you will develop API with query parameter.
So URI parameter, is it not unique to anything? It is unique, right? URI param has to be unique.
Yes, unique only. Okay, if you want to develop any API where you want to retrieve customer detail based on the customer ID. Okay, in that case, you will define URI parameter. Now you need another API where you want to retrieve customer information based on the filter conditions like age, date of birth. Then you will pass query parameter. Now it's a business, like they will tell you what is their requirement.
Okay, so my question is, we don't pass them together, right? Query param as well as URI param. We don't pass them together in a URL.
Yeah, it's again, I'm saying now, like, it's depend on requirement. If your requirement is there, you need to develop API which will retrieve data based on filter condition. You will pass query parameter.
Okay.
You will pass only query parameter. You will not pass any URI parameter.
Okay, fine. Yeah, got it.
Ravi, can you repeat the headers part?
So header will generally contain metadata. Okay. So here you can see we have this transaction ID, we have this client ID, we have client secret. This is the policy part, client ID, client secret. So this is, again, we are not going to use in processing part. This client ID and client secret will use to validate request is coming from valid source. So this detail our API will use to check request is coming from valid source. So again, this is not part of processing data, so we are passing in header. Transaction ID we use to track how many requests we received. For each request, there will be unique transaction ID. Okay, which will use in logging purpose and different purpose, but it's not part of processing data. So again, it will be header. Then we have authorization and we have like content type. So those kind of detail we only use to understand either body, query parameter, or URI parameter. Okay. These data are not actual or processing data, so it will be part of header. Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Hello, Ravi.
Yes.
Can you give me the examples of, related to the headers, which you given like application JSON? You are given for example for a header, right? Any other example for this one?
Header for what? Okay, there can be multiple, not transaction ID. Okay, for each transaction we are passing one unique ID, so we can identify with like in log.
Not with respect to this API. Generally, I'm asking. You are given application JSON, right?
Yes.
Any other example for that?
Yeah, means okay. If you open Postman, you will able to see. So there are many default headers also. Okay, like host, content length means what is the size of our payload.
Okay.
Okay. Accept means what kind of data this API will accept. JSON data, CSV data. Content type will also tell you a similar kind of thing. What is the type of your data, or both are almost same content. Okay, so these are the headers.
Is this get also header for example for header?
Get API will not have this accept and content type. Get API will header like you can say transaction ID you can pass. You can pass this whole thing, host, user agent. Then you can pass, let's say you are calling some get API, and that API need client ID and client secret for validation purpose. So client ID, client secret will be in header.
Can you please explain the caching policy which we pass in the headers? I got in the internet. I checked that for headers they are given a caching policy. What is that caching policy?
Again, I will discuss later. So for security policy, we will have one separate session. So almost 10 plus policy we will discuss, and HTTP caching will come at that time only.
Okay, thank you.
Next we have response part. So it will have only body.
Ravi, I have a query.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Actually, how we can receive the client secret? Basically, they will provide that in the chart, or else provide directly.
Client ID and client secret for API.
Yeah. For example, if you call any API, how they will share that client ID?
They will share through email. Now, let's say you are a client. You are going to expose my API. Yeah. So once you will take subscription, or once you will take like whatever process is there to make you successful client. Okay, once you will complete the registration process, or if there is any, let's say my API is paid API. So once you will be member of my API, once you will take the subscription, I will send you one email which will contain client ID and client secret. So whenever you will make request to my API, you need to pass that client ID and client secret.
Yeah, in one interview, I got this question: how you can receive this client ID and client secret? Is that they will provide that in chart?
Yeah, generally we used to share through email. Okay. But we don't include everyone in that email. Only like authorized person should be there.
Okay, when we register to that website or API website, then we can receive that client ID and client secret through mail itself. That's it, right?
Yeah. So it depends. Like again, as you mentioned, like website. Let's say we are in internet. Also, there are many websites are there. Okay, if you want to consume their API, So once you will do registration at that, once you will successfully complete your registration, you will able to see client ID and client secret in your profile page.
Ravi, are you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, here we are not follow the class rule because the question in the study question in the lecture classes are it is mixing. Can you please question in the question in the lecture classes are separate because we are confusing now. Can you do separately question time and the lecture time?
Okay. Actually, see, we can do a bit, but not completely. So we have doubt session. Okay. So generally, like this kind of question, they should ask in doubt session. Okay. Generally, I used to arrange doubt session, but most of the people are not joining. So whatever additional question you have, other people have in mind, so you can join that doubt session and you can ask whatever you want. Okay. But for this classes, like whatever related questions are there, yeah, just ask related question only, what topics we are covering. So that will be helpful for everyone. Otherwise, yeah, definitely other people will get confused if someone is new or someone is like just learning the process. For them, it might create confusion. Since we have answered, like many questions came from advanced things, which we are going to do in later stage. Maybe you have some ideas so you can understand, but other people will not. So whatever related things are there now. Okay, just whatever I am teaching, just follow everyone, for everyone, follow on that part only. And if you have any question on that part, you can ask. Okay. But if you have something additional, you want to know some more thing, wait for some time. Still, I'm not covering, then yeah, you should ask. Okay, and we have doubt session. If you really want to know at this moment only, you don't want to wait for 1 week or 2 weeks, you can join doubt session and you can ask. Okay, so definitely that will be helpful for everyone. Now coming to response part. So response also we have all these parameter, query parameter, URI parameter, header and body. So whenever we are passing response, all these things will go. And then last part is data type. So here we define the structure of input, output, everything. What will be data type of input and output that used to define in data type. So whenever you are designing any API, you should have detail of all these things. Okay, these are basic things you must need to know. Apart of that, we have many non-functional requirements that also you should know. That is logging, error handling, then SLA and all. Okay, but these are key things you must need to know before developing any API. Without this, you will not able to meet any business requirement. So if we will like design our API, then we used to capture all this detail. So here you can see we have captured resource detail. We have captured request data where we have header, we have body. We don't have query parameter and URI parameter. It's okay, like it's not mandatory to have everything in one API. Based on the requirement, things will be there. This is the sample payload for this REST API. Okay, and this is the response body structure. Now here we have, okay, this is the another API.
Can you share this navigation sheet to us so that you know, if you have any doubts, we can write very next to that page, print it out and write anything if you are explaining to us.
This one you are saying?
Yeah.
This document I will share. You want control?
Not control, but if you share it, so I'll make my own notes when you're talking, right, on the same page. So I know what you're talking on that page. Otherwise, it'll get mixed up with my notes, what I'm writing in my notes and the document.
So soon we are going to create document for our project. At this moment, I am explaining this. Okay. So once I will prepare a project, like document for our project, I will share. If you will have anything, you can make a note and then you can ask in doubt session.
Fine, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, so these are details, like same kind of detail we have: resource, request, response detail for different API. So now let me go to error part. So here we have this error part. So whenever we are developing our API, so we need to define error part also. So different error will be there, like 400, 404, 500, and 401 based on the error type. Okay. Now you will say, what is error type? If you have like bad request, as per API governance, error code should be 400. If you have resource not found, then as per API governance, error code should be 404. If your API is unable to authorize, like they are passing invalid client ID and client secret, then error code should be 401. If there is some like critical error, okay, then error code should be 500. So based on the error scenario, we should pass different code, and we should pass different information like message, code, success status, event ID, means this is the transaction ID for which request. So in each request, we will get transaction ID. So if we are sending any error message, so with error message also we will send transaction ID. So calling system will come to know, okay, for which request they received this error, since they will have tracking of transaction ID for each request. Okay, and then we have this error detail, like what type of error is there, then what is the title of error and detail of the error. Okay, so whenever we are designing any API, so in non-functional requirement, first thing will be error part. Second will be logging. So we will see what kind of logging we will do. We will do request log, we will do response log. And whenever we will do any external system call, we will do logging before and after. Okay. And if we have any data which is required to log, okay, that also we will do logging. So logging part, we have some standards. Okay. So first thing, we should do enough number of logging. So if there will be any failure in your API, with the help of log, you can identify where is the issue with your API. That is the first standard. Second thing, you should not do too many logging also. Otherwise, your API performance will be slow and it will consume lots of space in your log memory. Okay. So first thing, you should do enough logging to make your API understand if where is the failure. Second, we should not do too many logging also to avoid any kind of like performance issue or any kind of like log monitoring issue. So apart of that, we should put log on like different places, request, response, any external call there. Okay, so that kind of things we should do. Error handling is there, logging is there, then security policy. Okay, for security policy, we will have one detailed session. We will take one full session for security policy only. Now, what is security policy? I'm just giving you a high level. So whenever we are exposing our API to external world, we should apply some security policy. If you will not apply security, then anyone can call your API and they can misuse your API. They can system or many things will be there. Okay. So whenever you will expose your API, that API should be secured by some policy. We have many security policy like JWT, OAuth, client ID, basic authentication. So based on this, based on the API, you need to decide what kind of security policy you need to apply. Okay, as I mentioned in our detailed session, I will tell you what kind of API will have what kind of security, in which layer of API we should put which kind of security, that we will discuss. That will be part of security policy. And next will be SLA part. Okay, based on the complexity of your API, you should give your SLA. SLA means like what will be maximum response time of your API. If your API is taking more than that time, means your API is breaching the SLA. Okay, whenever like you will expose your API, you have to provide your SLA for your API. And if your API is not returning within that particular time within SLA, then your API is breaching SLA. So there will be some kind of agreement. Okay. So if your SLA like API is breaching SLA, then you are not like means you are what you can say failing in that agreement. There might be some penalty for your company, or there might be something. Okay. So since based on the SLA, like who is calling your API, they also will have many impact if your API is not returning within SLA. So if their business will be impacted, definitely you will also be impacted. So even if they are consuming your API, if they are impacted due to your API, then there will be some like business loss. Okay, so you should design your API in such a way it should respond faster. Okay, SLA should be less. Less means like your API should respond faster. Okay, so generally like when we are developing API, we are providing SLA like 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 7 seconds based on the complexity of API. Okay, I will show you that part. You will get idea how you can decide SLA and all. Okay, and next will be TPS. TPS will be provided by business. Okay, so their expectation will be this many of transaction will come in 1 second. Okay, so you should develop your API in such a way it should support this TPS. In that case, you might need more vCores, more capacity of server. You need to do some kind of tuning in your API, okay, based on the SLA. So again, that will come from business whenever like our like architect will create this functional design document. Okay, so we capture all this detail in our functional design document. So today I just given you high level overview. Tomorrow we will work on our API. Okay, so tomorrow based on our requirement, sorry, based on our requirement, we will develop this functional design document. Okay, so for today I'm closing session here only. If anyone has any query, you can ask. Otherwise, we are good to end this session.
Can I tell you what I understand?
Sorry.
So at the end of the session, we discussed about application overview and how to